level the gun, like if you were at a gun range and practicing.
On to the residence where the crime occurred, and the victim's remains were found on the property.
It's hard not to hold the parents of criminal children accountable, but the parents on this list definitely take the cake. From being in situations where they could have prevented tragedies, to actively enlisting the help of their children in these crimes, keep watching for parents that went too far to support their criminal children. Number 3.
The entire corner was all taped out for crime tape, and you wonder what's going on.
My partner and I received a phone call in reference to a woman who had apparently been a victim of an armed robbery. She was leaving work that evening.
Something there, I just couldn't figure out what yet.
Turned out there was.
There was some secrets.
On March 25th, 2009, Laverne Parsons began her day like any other, dropping her son off at school before returning to her Augusta, Georgia home. Little did she know, a sinister presence lurked nearby. Tragically, Laverne's life would end in a nightmare, her body discovered brutally beaten in the garage.
Immediately I could start seeing spots of blood on the floor. It looks like the homeowner came home and surprised a burglar in her house, and a struggle ensued where she was beaten.
Within a mere week of the horrific discovery, investigators honed in on a suspect, Laverne's neighbor, Rebecca Sears. Alongside her 19-year-old son, Christopher Bowers, Sears faced charges of first-degree slaying.
Here I've got 2 neighbors. One has been beaten to death, and the other one has just gotten shot.
The chilling motive behind the crime? Allegedly, Sears harbored romantic aspirations for Laverne's husband, Dave Parsons. Desperate to eliminate any obstacle to their relationship, Sears enlisted her son in a ghastly scheme to rid them of Laverne. The gruesome execution of their plan unfolded as Bowers bludgeoned Laverne to lifelessness with a claw hammer and baseball bat, staging the scene to resemble a burglary gone awry. Yet their depravity didn't end there.
He just told me, hold on, I can't tell you anything quite yet, but it's about to get a lot more crazy.
In a bizarre twist, just a day after the slaying, Bowers shot his own mother in the leg, concocting a macabre ruse to throw off investigators. However, justice eventually caught up with the malevolent duo. In 2012, both Rebecca Sears and Christopher Bowers pleaded guilty to their heinous crimes. Their sentences, life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, reflect the gravity of their actions. Today, they languish behind bars in Georgia correctional facilities, serving out their punishment for a crime born of greed, jealousy, and unfathomable cruelty. Number 2.
Suspect, a registered sex offender, turned himself in for failing to notify state police of a new address in Kentucky. 59 News reporter Caroline Forback has the latest.
On September 24th, 2019, we were advised of this crime by Larry Paul McClure.
Amanda McClure's life took a tragic turn after being adopted due to her birth parents' inability to care for her. Despite growing up in a stable family environment, Amanda struggled with drug addiction as an adult, mirroring her sister Anna Marie's own battles with substance abuse. In 2019, the sisters reconnected with their biological father, Larry McClure, whose troubled past included a conviction as a physical offender and recent release from prison. Together with Amanda's boyfriend, John McGuire, they settled in Sky Gusty, West Virginia, setting the stage for a chilling series of events. The grim discovery of McGuire's remains in the backyard of a Sky Gusty residence on September 24, 2019, marked the beginning of a harrowing investigation.
We did respond to the residence where the crime occurred, and the victim's remains were found on the property.
Larry McClure led authorities to the body, implicating himself and his daughters in the slaying, unveiling a twisted narrative of betrayal and violence.
Arrested McClure and his daughters, Amanda Naylor McClure and Anna Chaudhry.
Larry emerged as the mastermind behind the gruesome act, orchestrating McGuire's death through a savage assault with a wine bottle, methamphetamine injection, and strangulation.
Here at the scene, we discovered a path leading to some disturbed ground that looks a lot like a shallow grave.
Following the slaying, they callously buried McGuire in Larry's backyard, only to later exhume and dismember the body in a final act of brutality. The motive behind Larry's heinous scheme was revealed to be a desire to eliminate McGuire so he could pursue a romantic relationship with Amanda.
We have had 3 preliminary hearings for each of the 3 co-defendants, and after those hearings, now we're waiting for it to be bound over to the grand jury presentment.
Despite the illegal nature of this type of relationship in West Virginia, shockingly, Amanda and Larry McClure proceeded to marry mere weeks after the murder, cementing the disturbing depths of their depravity. The trio faced trial for their crimes, with Amanda receiving a 40-year prison sentence for her role in the killing.
First degree, conspiracy, and concealment of a deceased human body.
Larry McClure was sentenced to life behind bars, while Anna Choudhary also received a 40-year sentence for her involvement in the grisly murder. Number 1.
That's school shooter Ethan Crumbley at a shooting range practicing with the gun he used in the massacre just days later.
In a chilling turn of events, the aftermath of a devastating school shooting has now ensnared the parents of the perpetrator in its grasp.
Parents, they did not know, and I did not tell them what I planned to do, so they are not at fault of what I've done.
2 harrowing years following the heinous act perpetrated by 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley, the judicial hammer has come down on his mother, Jennifer Crumbley. Found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, Jennifer's conviction marks an unprecedented milestone, thrusting the dark specter of parental responsibility into the spotlight like never before.
The trial for Michigan mom Jennifer Crumbley is underway. Crumbley's charged with involuntary manslaughter along with her husband after their son shot and killed 4 of his classmates at a Michigan high school in 2021.
The trial, akin to a suspenseful courtroom drama, laid bare the haunting details of that fateful November day in 2021 when Ethan unleashed terror upon his high school in Michigan.
It is sentencing day for Ethan Crumbley, the teen who pled guilty to fatally gunning down 4 of his classmates.
I remember hearing a squish sound against my right ear, and it was the sound of carpet mixed with blood.
My daughter's lifeless body was laying on a cold metal gurney. I remember her hand laying out from underneath the sheet, and her fingernails were blue.
We want you to spend the rest of your life rotting in your cell. What you stole from us is not replaceable.
As prosecutors meticulously pieced together the narrative, they portrayed Jennifer as a central figure in the tragedy, alleging her failure to heed ominous warning signs of her son's deteriorating mental state.
Crumbley's parents were not in court for their son's sentencing. They face involuntary manslaughter charges. Prosecutors say they bought the gun for their son for Christmas, even though they knew he was deeply troubled.
With a palpable tension hanging in the air, the courtroom listened intently to the prosecution's arguments. Jennifer stood accused of disregarding Ethan's cries for help, as evidenced by his disturbing journal entries and desperate messages to friends. Each revelation painted a chilling portrait of a troubled youth slipping through the cracks, his pleas for assistance falling on deaf ears. But it was the damning evidence surrounding the procurement of the murder weapon that sent shockwaves through the courtroom.
Typically, when it's recommended that parents take their children to seek out mental assistance immediately, they follow the direction of the mental health professional.
Just days before the massacre, Jennifer and her husband facilitated Ethan's acquisition of a firearm, despite being aware of his alarming behavior. The prosecution's portrayal of a family blithely arming their troubled son with the tools of destruction struck a nerve with jurors and spectators alike.
I am a really bad person. I have done terrible things that no one should ever do. Any sentence that they ask for, I ask that you do impose it on me, because I want them to be happy and I want them to feel secure.
As the trial unfolded, the question of parental culpability loomed large. Could Jennifer have prevented the bloodshed? Should she have recognized the signs and intervened? These inquiries reverberated through the hushed corridors of the courthouse, casting a pall over the proceedings. In a dramatic climax, the jury delivered their verdict.
If you could change what happened, would you?
Oh, absolutely. I wish he would have killed us instead.
Guilty on all counts. Jennifer's fate now hangs in the balance as she faces the prospect of up to 15 years behind bars. Yet the reverberations of this landmark case extend far beyond the confines of the courtroom.
Jennifer Crumbley testified that her son sometimes expressed anxiety, but she said she never thought he needed to see a mental health professional.
With the precedent set, the legal landscape surrounding mass shootings and parental responsibility has shifted irrevocably. No longer can parents plead ignorance or turn a blind eye to the warning signs exhibited by their children. The ripple effects of Jennifer Crumbley's conviction are felt across the nation, forcing a reckoning with the grim reality of gun violence and the role parents play in its prevention. As the sentencing date looms on the horizon, one thing remains certain: the tragic saga of Ethan Crumbley's rampage has left an indelible mark on the fabric of society, forever altering our perceptions of accountability and justice. Signing off for now. Tune in next time for another riveting episode.